Please welcome author of The Cortisol Connection, Why Stress Makes You Fat and Ruins Your Health, Dr. Sean Talbott. Hi. Hi, Dr. Talbott. Well, I'm so glad you're here, because I always thought that I'd put weight on because I like to eat burritos and cold pizza for breakfast, but apparently it's because I'm stressing out. Tell me how stressing out can cause you to put weight on, Dr. Talbott.
Well, stress does a lot of things that are not so good for our waistlines. Whenever we're under stress, our body mounts a stress response. Sometimes we call it the fight or flight response. And that causes us to reach for M&Ms and other comfort foods. But there's a reason we reach for those foods, and it's a stress hormone called cortisol. So we're under stress, we have this stress hormone cortisol coursing through our bodies, and that causes our brain to tell us that we're hungry, and it tells our fat cells, specifically in our abdominal region, in our belly, to store as much as possible. So we have stress, we have cortisol, we're hungry, and we store the weight right in our midsections.
Okay, you're on a diet,
right,
and you don't cheat. But if you're obsessed about the diet that you're on, you can gain weight.
And the more obsessed you are about it, the worse results you'll have. It's something
Americans obsess.
Right.
They kind of go hand in hand.
They obsess, and it's something we call dietary restraint. So the more focused you are and the more obsessive you are about your diet, the worse it is for you in the long run.
Is there some type of food that can help us de-stress?
Overall, it's eat what you want, really. It's don't obsess about avoiding that and counting that and how many carb grams and things like that. That's too obsessive. What you want to do is eat the foods that you're hungry for, but do it in a very non-stress way, and that's where the program comes in that we have in the book. This yo-yo dieting, or what we call in nutrition weight cycling, can have a lot of detrimental effects on the body, heart problems or memory problems or suppression of the immune system.
Dr. Sean Talbott says losing or gaining more than 5% of your body weight in a short amount of time is risky business. The trauma Christian forced his body to endure may very well come back to haunt him.
He's going to be one of the very small percentage of men when they get to be age 70 that has a very high risk for osteoporosis because of what he's gone through as an actor.
Cortislim was developed by University of Utah nutritional biochemist Dr. Sean Talbott. The science behind cortislim focuses on controlling the stress hormone called cortisol.
Cortisol to the brain is an appetite signal. It makes us hungry, and it makes us hungry specifically for sweets.
After 15 years of study, Talbott maintains cortisol can be controlled, and that higher levels of cortisol can lead to a larger midsection.
There is a huge amount of scientific data that shows that cortisol leads to abdominal fat. You can't even argue against it. The scientific evidence is so strong there.
Stephanie Petty says she's living proof. In May, she showed us what diet, exercise, and cortislim did for her.
This is how Dr. Talbott's weight loss program has changed my life. This is what I looked like before.
There are no pills that you can take that you swallow that will help you lose weight unless you are doing diet and exercise.
I try to practice what I preach and, get outside and try to be active as much as possible. The average guy in the street, once you say to them, did you ever think about the fact that stress can make you fat? And they're curious about it. But when you explain it to them, and you tell them about the stress hormone cortisol and how that increases appetite and how that it encourages weight gain around the midsection, you can see the light bulbs go off for people, and they say, yes, that's exactly what happens. When I'm under stress, I reach for these comfort foods. Oh, yeah, yeah. And I like to tell people that you might not be able to control the stress that's out there, that you're exposed to, but you can control the stress response that's in here. And as a biochemist, that's really where I like to focus people. You can use exercise and nutrition and stress management to control your body's response to stress, so you can live in a stressful lifestyle like all of us have to. It's a necessity these days, but you don't have to succumb to the detrimental effects of that stress. Right. It doesn't mean that you need to move away from your job and open up a surf shop someplace on a remote beach. That isn't the idea here. The idea is to understand what that stress response does in your body. One of the key factors with a stress response is a stress hormone called cortisol. Whenever we're under stress, our body releases this stress hormone called cortisol, and that cortisol tells your brain you're hungry, and it tells your brain you're hungry specifically for fats and sweets. So people will hear that and they'll go, wow, that makes sense. When I'm under stress, I reach for the M&Ms and the gummy bears and the donuts and the cupcakes and those kinds of comfort foods. They're comfort foods because your biochemistry is telling your body that's what you want, because they're high energy foods. All we have to do is look around and to see what the obesity statistics look like. It's 65% of the American population now. So 2 out of 3 of us are either overweight or obese. It's alarming, and the most alarming piece about it is that these statistics, this percentage of people who are overweight has gone up exponentially in just the last 20 or 30 years. As other countries become Americanized or industrialized, they experience the exact same things that we're going through right now. So you can look in Japan, you can look in European countries, you can look around the world and see that once these countries become more sedentary and start eating more convenience foods, the exact same thing happens. Some people might look at this and say, 12 pounds, I don't care about that. That was a failure. I want to lose more than 1 pound a month. But then you can look at something like this and say, wow, you just cut your risk of heart disease by 10 or 15%. So there's a lot more to these weight loss programs than just the pounds on the scale. How about if you eat more than 1/3 of your meals out? That's going to increase your risk of obesity by 69%. Now we're talking some serious numbers here, right? Let's say you're eating dinner out every single night. That's going to increase your risk of obesity substantially. And partly that's because dinner out is a bigger portion size. It's partly because it's a higher fat content. It's for a lot of reasons. But eating food away from home where you don't have control over it really puts an increase there. How about going to bed hungry? Right? So it's 3 hours after your last eating occasion, whether that's a meal or whether that's a snack, 101% increase in your obesity risk. Right? So what does that tell us? It means you should eat something before you go to bed. It's a 3-legged stool. You have diet, you have exercise, and you have stress management. And so how you approach those 3 things is really up to you. People come to us after the first week or 2 and literally tell us, I don't think this plan's going to work for me because it's not restrictive enough, or it's not enough exercise, or it's not enough of something. They think that the plan needs to be very restrictive, and they need to feel deprived, and they need to feel that they're going through this gigantic painful program. With our program, we get almost 100% compliance. We get almost 100% of the people who start our program finish our program, and that's very important because it tells us that it's a non-stressful program. We know it's an effective program. We've measured it several times. All I'm asking people to do is be active, move their bodies. Just that motion of contracting your muscles is doing something that those stress hormones want the body to do. The reason that you're having this stress response is to move your body. Your body thinks that you're under a mortal danger, that a saber-toothed tiger is chasing you, or you have to get out of the area very quickly, and that's physical activity. That's moving your body. And if we can just go out and be active, we take care of that stress response. It's as easy as that. Whew! What a beautiful day to be out here exercising. I'm exercising out here doing some cross-country skiing, but you can choose to be active any way you want to be, whatever you like. It can be walking, it can be running, it can be walking the dog, it can be gardening, it can be anything like that. Why is that so important? Well, not just because exercise is going to burn some calories, which is going to get the fat off your body or prevent weight gain, but exercise also helps you control stress and helps you control those stress hormones that we know increase appetite and increase abdominal fat. So just getting out there and just moving your body is vitally important. So get out there.